You're listening to the Booze and Bloodshed podcast. Well, here we are again with another episode of Booze and Bloodshed podcast. Hi, Leah. Leah's over there laughing. Why are you laughing?
Because the song reminds me of Kid and Play.
Kid and Play?
I don't know why.
Well, that's very nice of you. Well, we're going to take a little small commercial break. If that's what that's called now.
Or a music break.
That too. We'll be right back. Seriously? God, you know what? There's always something that goes wrong on this thing. Guess what? We're going to go ahead and just move forward.
I thought you stopped and we're like, we're doing this again.
Every time. That something on that part screws up almost every time. Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of Booze and Bloodshed. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Leah.
And we're so happy that y'all have chosen to join us this morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be listening from. And as always, we're here to dish and discuss things boozy and bloody. True crime and horror movies will all be our focus every week, along with an alcoholic beverage that we think will pair well with the subject of each episode. And this week we are doing Eli Roth's Green Inferno. Why'd you have to put Eli Roth's name in front of that?
I don't know, because anytime they talk about anytime his name, anytime any of
God.
Oh my God, I just did a totally smoker laugh. Anytime anybody talks about his movies, they always put his name in front of it. So I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, maybe that's what it is. The title of the movie is Green Inferno.
The Green Inferno.
The Green Inferno. And it's directed by Eli Roth.
Yes.
And then you were freaking the F out about some makeup artist that did something in this movie. Who?
Yes, Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, you were like, oh my God, he did the makeup. I'm thinking, great.
I have like a list. He's worked on 75. So he has on IMDb, his makeup special effects credit is 75 movies and shows.
So he's done a few.
Yes.
And you said he's done something very... I want to say very popular, but I guess they're all popular, right? But what's that one you said that he did the makeup for?
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead, that's what it was.
Yes.
So anyway, and then
we're pairing it with...
In our area, there's a little boutique winery place, I guess. It's called Landon Winery. And we're going to start off with doing a 2019 Sauvignon Blanc.
That was so fancy sounding.
I know. I looked at that how to properly say Blanc.
Are you serious?
No. Yes, I did.
You couldn't say matter. Blanc?
I know how to say Blanc now.
Blanc. Whatever.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, I'm really glad you didn't say it like that.
We already pre-uncorked it. I did on accident, but we're going to do it again.
I didn't even notice that you shoved the cork back in there. How did you even do that?
I'm trying to go for sound.
I don't even know how you got that back in there.
I don't either.
I've never seen somebody do that.
But guess what? We're going to do it. So here we go. I'm going to pop the cork again.
Ooh.
I can't get it off now.
Oh, no, don't. Oh, that sounded good, though.
Sounded good using your teeth.
Yeah, you may have broke all your teeth, but it sounded good.
So I will pour yours first, since we're fancy. Okay. We're fancy-like. Oh, should we put it to a mic? Okay.
No, I think you can probably hear. Oh, that's plenty. That's good.
Okay. My fancy glass is a plastic cup.
I know. I don't know why you always want one of those.
Are you supposed to let it breathe when you pour it like that? Are you supposed to let it breathe?
I don't really know that much about wine. Probably.
Well, we just aerated it. And I'm going to put that in. No, I'm not.
I think you're supposed to do this.
Okay, you're supposed to swirl it.
Swirl it.
Now we didn't have to do this with
to
the
aerate it.
We didn't have to do this with the Cooper and Thief.
Why?
I don't know, but we didn't.
We didn't have to, meaning we just never did it.
Here we go. Just give it a sniff.
Ooh.
It smells like wine.
It smells kind of peachy.
I get green apples and pear.
I feel like you looked up. You
just brought this in. I have no idea. I have no idea what
true.
So let's.
That's true.
Yeah, little green apples and pears and sweet. It smells sweet. Mm-hmm, Is it supposed to be sweet?
No, it has a dry finish.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's go first.
Ooh, you can drink this with goat cheese.
Oh, we have some. Oh. Yeah, after this bottle, we'll eat a whole log of goat cheese.
What is that noise you make? Do it after you drink. Please do it after you drink it. You've never done that yet.
I've got cork in mine. Take that out. Yeah, let's just go with it. Okay.
That's why you don't shove it back in the bottle.
Here we go. Sauvignon Blanc from Landon Winery.
That's good. I wouldn't necessarily call it dry.
Oh!
That's the noise. The Craig tube noise.
I'm not sure to think about this.
You don't like it?
I don't hate it.
I can't tell just because I ate 3 Oreos before I drank
it. Washed down what you just ate. I get...
I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure to think about it either.
I don't think it's dry. It's supposed to be dry, and I don't think it is.
I don't think it's dry. We've had one before that was like, you
like can't... Cabernet.
It was like really dry. No, it wasn't a Cabernet. It was a white wine that you're like, this is great. And I drank it. I'm like, well, it's okay, but it was on the dry side. But, this is... I don't know, man. Maybe I don't appreciate this one, but I taste like peaches a little bit.
See, I think so too.
So here's the description. It says this medium body white wine has herbal aromas that come along with the gooseberry and honeydew melon. Nice tart crispiness leads into a clean, dry finish. And I'm not sure it's dry. It's
I don't think it's very dry, and if it, it's a little bit, but it is so smooth.
This is not a wine that I would choose and seek out. That's just me.
Probably, yeah, I probably wouldn't either. It's not bad. If I went to a dinner party or something and somebody had this, yeah, I would drink it. But would I go out and buy it? No, probably not. Even though I just did that.
to me, it smells better than it tastes.
Yeah, I agree.
The taste for me has got a lingering...
almost like a sourness or something.
Yeah, almost. And I know this... I don't know.
Something pungent.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but it almost tastes like there's something rotting on the backside.
I don't taste that.
Oh, well, let's try it again.
But maybe that's, again, because I ate 3 Oreos before I started drinking this.
Okay, it's not... I can taste the honeydew part. It's not bad. I wouldn't seek it out, though. We're going to drink this bottle.
I almost wonder if I would like it if it was actually drier like it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it's dry at all.
No, I don't think it is either. I'm actually very surprised. And it makes me wonder, that one that I just bought back there, that Chittenden Blanc or whatever, it says semi-sweet. How sweet do you think that's going to be?
Semi-sweet.
This is supposed to be dry and it's kind of sweet. And then that's semi-sweet. That's probably going to be very sweet.
Yeah, I'm not getting dry at all.
I don't think so either.
Not very much at all. I get the tannins on there, like that dryness thing going on.
Like the potential for it to be dry, but it's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean.
We're going to keep on drinking this thing. Are we going to hit that other bottle? We're going to have 2 bottles between the two of us. That's a lot.
We're not going to drink the rest of this.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
I don't want the rest of that.
What's going to happen is I'm going to drink all this, and you're going to be reading the entire time like we typically do.
Well, what do you want this to sound like? You want me to be slurring through this? That would sound horrible.
It is what it is. What happens, happens.
I would rather just maybe put a cork in that one, open that one.
Ow. Oh.
And open that other one and try that.
Did you bring it? Where's that one favorite thing at? There it is. So I'll stick that in. And then we have one of those wine saver things that pulls the oxygen out of the bottle. So let's keep on pumping.
It's like not the worst thing I've ever tasted. It's just kind of bland.
I'm underwhelmed with it. I wanted to love it, and I can't get on board with it.
But it's not gross by any means.
And I'm already starting to sweat a little bit, which happens when I drink alcohol. Do we break into this one too, or do we wait? Or
I mean, we could probably just do that a little bit through. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get halfway through and we'll stop for another bottle.
Yeah, this is going to be a long one.
It may go fast. It may go fast. So we're going to get into the Green Inferno.
So
Eli Roth's Green Inferno.
Well, haven't you ever seen like a movie advertised for him? You probably not, but most people have. And it says like Eli Roth's whatever.
No, I remember Bram Stoker, Dracula. That was actually the title of the movie.
Bram Stoker's the guy who wrote it.
Oh.
Not the guy who made the movie.
So Bram Stoker's pretty old, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Whoops.
Oh my gosh.
Well.
What did you do in English?
What did that have to do with English?
You didn't read Dracula in English class?
I don't remember.
Oh, well, I don't remember. I was in high school a little bit more recently than you. So I remember.
So.
Okay, so anyway, we have watched this movie probably twice before we watched it this time. But it's been a while because it grosses me out.
I typically, when we first saw this movie, I mean, I saw it once before we saw it together.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was a horror movie category. But maybe it is.
That astonishes me that you did not think that. Because it's about people getting eaten by cannibals.
I thought it was gruesome, but I didn't think it was a horror movie. So maybe my definition of horror movie is off.
Yeah, because that to me is horrific.
Horrific horror. Get it?
So I can't believe, oh my God, like that is like the worst thing ever. I can't believe you didn't like.
But I can say this though. I saw it by myself the first time. No big deal. We saw it the first time together. No big deal. We watched it again last night.
And it grossed you out.
I got queasy. I was trying to be cool. I was like, nah, it's not bothering me. But I was thinking, am I going to throw up in a second? I mean, because remember we watched that one documentary that one time I got that way?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I think it's coming again. Like, I have to I'm going to go to the restroom and just try to cool off.
I mean,
so I got queasy a little bit.
There's a couple of times we watched it before, like it grossed me out. But like, I mean, you know how I am. I like that kind of, not really to that degree, but I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't watch stuff like that. And I was like, okay. And then for some reason last night we watched that and I was getting like that salivating feeling like about like where you're about to throw up.
I get it. What was
because
it?
Because it grossed me out so bad. The little thing for this.
I got like a rock feeling in my stomach and I thought, man, I'm not going to get queasy on this, am I? Yeah. I started to get there like such a
It only happened when they killed that first guy.
Yes.
And then the rest of it, I was kind of okay. I'd acclimated to how disgusting the entire thing was.
Yeah. We'll get there, I guess, right?
But so anyway.
It's hot in here, man.
This is an Eli Roth horror movie. I say an Eli Roth horror movie because he's made other movies besides horror genre. Just to name a few, he has done Cabin Fever, which I think he did both of them because there was a remake in 2016. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see that one, but I've always seen it like on, I think, Netflix or
You're asking the wrong person.
It's like on Netflix or HBO Max or something. I've never watched it, but I've seen the original one that has one of the guys, and you're not going to connect with this at all, but one of the guys from Boy Meets World is in it, in the original from like 2002.
Not connecting. Which one, though? Which one from Boy Meets?
Sean.
Okay.
Sean. I can't remember his name, though, like his real name. But he also did Clown, which I've seen. I was not a fan. I was not a fan of that movie. It was okay. I wouldn't really call it like
kind of like this wine.
A really exactly like this wine. Don't hate it, but don't love it. Haunt, which I recently watched, and I would really highly recommend that as a good Halloween scare kind of movie because they're in a, obviously a haunted house.
Maybe now that I've seen this movie and I kind of not necessarily appreciate it, but I kind of get it a little bit. Maybe now that I've seen that and we've seen it, that maybe I should watch something else that he's done and maybe it might connect.
Cabin Fever is cheesy. I don't think you would like it.
Of course.
Haunt. I actually liked Haunt. He also did Hostels Part 1 and 2, which I love. Hostel. Yeah, it's a hard thing to drink. He also did The Last Exorcism Parts 1 and 2. I never saw The Last Exorcism, either one of them. But Hostel, I say I don't watch movies like Green Inferno, but Hostel's pretty close to that. It's pretty gruesome. I want
to say I've seen Hostel, but
I do like Hostel. I prefer Part 2 to Part 1. And you know what's very ironic? In Part 2, you know the dad in Green Inferno?
Yes.
He's in Hostel Part 2.
Okay. The
I
dad
thought of that
works
just
at the
now.
UN.
Yes. And then he paired up with Greg Nicotero to do the makeup for this movie. Which
is the part you were kind of freaking out? You're like,
oh my God. I love Greg Nicotero. When I was in high school, because The Walking Dead, this makes me sound so young. The Walking Dead started when I was in high school. I was 15. And
you were so young.
I was so young.
Young.
But I've really, really liked his work a lot for a really long time.
Is he what got you thinking that you wanted to get into special effects?
Yes, I think I've told you that before. Him and Tom Savini. And Tom Savini actually inspired him to get into special effects. Tom Savini did Friday the 13th.
Okay. I'm familiar with that.
Well, and Greg Nicotero actually... I don't think Tom Savini did the one we just talked about, that Friday the 13th. But Greg Nicotero actually did work on, I think, like 2 or 3 Friday the 13th. But to name some of his IMDb credits, he worked on, obviously, The Walking Dead, El Camino, that movie that they made about Breaking Bad. He did the makeup for that movie.
Did I see that?
Yeah, it was on Netflix, like not that long ago, like a year or 2 ago. You're like, yeah, whatever.
I swear I'm here half the time we watch stuff, and I just don't remember some of this.
Because you're always on your phone.
Oh.
I turn something on, and you're on your phone the entire freaking time. Unless I'm like, we have to watch this for the podcast.
Ooh, that was a good one.
It was a good one.
I just opened the second bottle.
He also did Texas Chainsaw, This Is the End.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Well, Texas Chainsaw, which was, I think maybe not the most recent, but the second most recent. It was that one that they tried to make 3D, and like the acting was just like horrific. It was terrible. And he did This Is the End. I love This Is the End. That's that movie that it has all those celebrities in it, and they're stuck in James Franco's house.
Is that the one that we watched?
That comedy.
Oh, it's a comedy? Okay,
and
never mind.
Seth Rogen's in it, and then...
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the last... Was that Friday the 13th that we watched where they're all in that house on the lake, and they're all...
Yes.
Okay.
Like every Friday the 13th.
Oh, we just did the podcast on that.
Yeah.
Hello.
And he worked on The Grey. I haven't seen The Grey. And he did Fright Night, the 2011 remake. He worked on Creepshow 2 in 1987. And he revamped...
Creepshow 2, was that a movie or was that like on HBO?
It was a movie. Creepshow... And I don't know if he did the original Creepshow. I don't think he did. But Creepshow is something that Stephen King collaborated on with somebody else. And so he did the second movie, the makeup for that. And he revamped it. Greg Nicotero did in 2019. And I've been waiting forever for them to come out for a second season with that. Because that is like the best. It's like I could talk about this shit forever. I'm like, love it. But Creepshow, the most recent one, it's more like, it's episodes. Creepshow, the original one.
So it's a series like on cable, like HBO or something like that?
It's on Shudder. So Shudder is like Netflix for horror movies. It's only horror. And it's episodes, and they're probably like about an hour long. So each episode is about 30-ish minutes. And they'll do 2 per show. 2 little blips per show.
Like an hour long total?
Yeah. So okay. Like 2 little stories, but it's really good. So anyway, both of these guys are like they're very big icons in the horror industry. Eli Roth, I hate to say this, I'm probably going to be the bad guy here, but I don't really like Eli Roth's movies.
You don't like what?
Eli Roth's movies.
Like, so when we were watching this, we were like, oh my God, it's Eli Roth.
I didn't say Eli Roth. I said Greg Nicotero.
I thought you were saying that about Eli Roth too.
No.
Okay, my bad.
I'm not really into the whole Eli Roth thing. I think his movies in general, there's a couple that I like, but in general, I'm not a fan of. Is that one not good either?
So go ahead and take a swig of yours, but I opened up the 2019 Landon Winery Chittenden Blanc. It's a semi-sweet. What's semi-sweet? I'm not sure what. A Blanc, I guess. And it tastes like... it smells... The aroma is very clean. There's not a lot of stuff coming off the aroma. But it tastes like a sweet wine plastic.
I think it stinks. Maybe that's just me. I think it smells.
Pour that and see what I'm talking about. I'll read the description on the back of it.
I can't even pour things normally anymore. I pour them like a beer.
Damn right. That's what you're supposed to do. Let me see this real quick. Let's see the bottle.
Ooh, I don't like how that smells.
So interrupt Leah's progress really quick. This is the Landon Winery Chittenden Blanc Semi-Sweet. The light body white wine has a classic characteristics of quince, cantaloupe, and pear on the nose. Flavors of honey, melon, and pear lead to nice sweet finish paired well with spicy food.
I prefer the Sauvignon Blanc to that. I think that's really not good.
It is sweet. It is honeyish.
I don't think it's overly sweet. Like, I think it's a good balance as far as sweet, but the taste...
But you taste that like
gross.
plastic thing going on?
I don't taste the plastic thing. It tastes to me almost like a stone fruit, like a rotted stone fruit or something.
Okay, now I took a second drink. It's okay. One thing Landon Winery does have that's amazing. What was that?
There's like cork in it.
Oh, they have a peach wine that's amazing.
Yeah.
They have a 4-blend red wine that's really good.
Which one is that? Is that Texan?
I'm not.
Or Meritage?
It's something else. I think it's Merit.
They have really good red wines. I do have to say.
Their red wines are badass.
They are.
I'm not sold on the whites.
Except for the peach one. Peach one's
Except
really
for
good.
the peach is still good.
But you know what? I actually do. I have to say, for the people that live in the DFW area, there's quite a few of these Landon Wineries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one in Greenville,
McKinney, downtown McKinney.
McKinney, Wiley, and now there's one in the Waters.
Sound.
Waters.
Is it called the Sound?
Yeah, but what's the whole thing called? Waters something.
Oh shit, I don't know. That one in Grapevine.
The Waters.
The one in Grapevine.
Close to Grapevine, yeah, Irving.
Yeah, yeah.
So those are the locations they have. Anyway,
but I like the one. Not to get off. I mean, we are kind of off topic, but a little bit. It's not. The one that's in downtown McKinney, I really like that one because I like how nice their patio is.
It's
nice.
cool.
It's nice to sit there, like, because we went a couple times and sat on.
We went
patio.
before a birthday party, and we were shitty before we even got to the birthday party, which was awesome.
We had like 2 bottles of wine,
and they had food there too. The one in Greenville has real food, like steaks and stuff, I think.
Do they really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
The one in Wiley, they have like finger foods now. And I'm not sure about the one in
they have like charcuterie boards
in
and
Irving.
stuff.
So, if you go to Landon, my suggestion, if you like white wines, do your thing. It's not my thing, but definitely.
Except the peach one. The peach one's good.
Peach one's good. Indulge in the red wines and get the charcuterie board. That's really good.
I do want to try their dessert wines because we've never had a dessert wine there.
Like a port?
Well, they have different kinds. Like they have white wines, red wines.
Oh, did not know that.
One day, and I think because I got these bottles really cheap today, so I think that they have some kind of special on whole bottles of wine on Fridays.
Nice. Okay.
So, just so we know.
Yeah, now hit Landon up on Friday night.
Next Friday, we can do it. Okay.
Come back to this movie. Sorry.
Yes. So anyway, this movie on Rotten Tomatoes got a 38%.
Out of 100?
Yes.
Really?
It got a 4.9 out of 10, and then on IMDb, they gave it 5.3 out of 10.
Ouch.
I think that's because some of the acting, like, how I feel about this movie is they have really good actors and really fucking bad actors involved with each other. And I think some of the bad acting overshadows the good acting.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second, too, because there's one one character in particular that just drove me nuts.
The girl?
Yes.
That looks like she's fucking dead and has highlighter hair?
No. The other one that screamed every minute of the movie. And it's like...
I didn't even notice.
The one that... Well, we'll get there in a second, I guess. But the one that slits her throat later.
Oh, yeah.
All she did was scream. I was like, oh, my God.
And this sounds bad, but from a horror... Since it's a movie and not an actual situation, I was just like, this is the most insufferable bitch. This is a bad enough situation, and you're just making everybody even more miserable.
Yeah, she's the one that drove me crazy.
Like,
aside from that...
She was just the shits, man. Literally, at one point.
There's some characters that were they were okay, but a few of them were good, but the whole cast was not the best. And we'll talk about the cast a little bit later. So basically, the plot of this movie is that the Green Inferno is about a group of college activists who venture out under the impression that they will be protesting the annihilation of a tribe of indigenous peoples in their home in the Amazon due to a timber company. When things go south, the group boards a plane to leave the country, and then their plane crashes. The tribe that they went there to quote-unquote protect ends up finding the crash site and taking hostage the survivors back to their village, where they proceed to involve the group in cannibalistic rituals and overall horrific deaths. Mm-hmm. And genital mutilation. That's what the tribe does as well.
It does, but it didn't happen.
So it's kind of fun. No, it came close.
Not yet.
But it's kind of funny when she was in the beginning, she would go to her history class. They were learning about that before they even went. They're talking about genital mutilation with some tribes in the Amazon, which happened to ironically be the same freaking tribe that they came face to face with.
Yes.
And in the movie, the whole time they're in their dorm, and she has a roommate who's a sleut. She's slutty.
I have so many thoughts on that roommate. Like, the whole entire time I was thinking, and I even said this during the movie, I was like, how bad were the other choices to cast this girl?
She was a bad one.
That she was the one that won.
She was definitely a bad one.
She was terrible. Her acting, I don't even know what to say about it. It was bad.
It was bad.
Like, she was probably the worst one in the movie.
And they're saying in the very beginning it's she and her roommate, and they're out there, the protesters, or whoever it is, they're in the lawn protesting for benefits or insurance for the janitors.
For the janitors at the college.
Yeah. And so they were doing that, and they were basically saying, why do they have to do this so early on Sundays, and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Her dad happens to be somebody that works at the UN or is a part of the UN, something, and she's having lunch with her dad, and she's talked, one of the guys of the group.
Jonah.
Was it Jonah, the big guy?
The guy, that liked her.
So who's the guy Jonah's the guy
that
was playing guitar. Yeah, the guy in charge. Who's the guy?
In charge is Alejandro.
That's right. Okay, so Jonah's basically like, he caught her after...
Yeah, they were in that class together.
Oh, yeah, and he saw her talking about, like, my dad's at the UN. We need to get involved with this. And he's like, oh. After the class, he goes and talks to her and says, hey, you should be a part of our group. We act. Activism cures things or something like that. I'm not sure what it was called.
You said we act. I thought you were going to say, like, in production.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that.
And so she goes to a meeting because he brought her... not begged her to go, but he said, you should go. She shows up. The leader is an a-hole to her because she's like...
She made a comment like about them starving themselves to help the people or something.
We need to make a difference. She said, what are you going to do, walk in there and starve yourself? And he's like, you should leave. And stupid stuff, right? So she leaves, and homeboy, what's his name again?
Alejandro.
No, the other one.
Oh, Jonah.
Jonah goes up to her and is like, hey, he's really a good guy. Like, we're sorry. You should come back. Whatever.
Yes.
And then the next scene is it's him walking, Alejandro.
And she's apologizing to him.
Yeah, she's saying basically, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. And he's like, you need to be serious. You don't need to be sorry, and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So she starts to get involved with this thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, the next meeting she goes to, fast forward, is talking about going to do this tribe thing.
Yes. During the meeting.
Yeah, during the meeting.
Okay.
He has connections with people here and there. Mm-hmm. We can go.
Which, to me, is so strange because I'm like the oldest you can be is like, maybe 22. Like, you're in college. Like, how do you know all these people? He looks like he's fucking 35.
He does.
It's like, how do you know all these people when you're 22 years old? You know people in like foreign countries that can like do all this activism and stuff.
Yeah, he's
like,
such an activist at this little college that he has connections worldwide. the storyline is a little bit of an unbelievable. Yeah,
that's totally what I was thinking the entire time.
He's definitely the connection worldwide guy at this small college.
Yes.
So, yes.
Well, but I love, well, he gives her a second chance.
He gives her a second chance. She goes to a meeting and they're talking about that, and she's, I guess they
decide to go.
Oh yeah, they start to walk out of that meeting, and his girlfriend's like, "Are your intentions pure?"
Yeah,
because she thinks she's trying to hook up with
her
boyfriend, which she kind of was.
But she made that stupid little shade comment, like, the jungle is dangerous. Like,
yeah.
I would have been like, why the fuck don't you just say, stay away from my boyfriend?
You better watch your back.
Like, you might as well.
That was stupid, too. But, and then she goes to lunch with her dad, and she's talking to her dad about how she wants to go on this trip, and he wants to check the credentials with everybody. And
well, they were on the phone at that point. The lunch thing already happened with her awkward-ass friend.
No, I'm talking about lunch with the dad and the friend.
So at this point, she's like packing her shit, and she's like, I'm going to go to Peru, and he's like saying all that, like, oh, I want to know who you're going with and everything. And I even turned to you, and I was like, if I was 18 years old, and I told my dad I was going to a foreign country with people he doesn't even know, he'd be like, no, you are not doing that.
When I was 18, I couldn't even go to a concert that I wanted to go to in Dallas, much less Peru.
Well, I mean, I had some more flexibility than that.
I couldn't do that.
But at the same time, like, that to me is not realistic because...
Well, it's a movie.
Well, I know, but I just... That's... The rest of the situation to me seemed like if something crazy like that did happen, it was realistic as to what would probably happen. But that moment, I was like, dad is going to let that happen.
So when you watch horror movies, is your critique over how realistic it is?
No. But I'm just saying. But I think part of the reason I like this movie is because I feel like if this were to happen, and why I like The Walking Dead so much is I feel like if that were to happen and all these crazy events unfolded, that is the most realistic portrayal to me of what would actually take place in this movie specifically. But other horror movies I watch, I don't feel that way. Like, I just like to watch them.
Yeah. So it shows her going to the airport.
Yes.
Everybody gets in the plane. Little freaky girl is getting freaked out because she didn't have her pills to calm her down.
to soak.
Soak, I know. I don't know why I even said soak. To calm her down. They fly to Peru. They get off the plane. They go into another small plane. And there's, this new guy who's the person that has all these connections with all these people. Carlos has all these people with all these connections. He knows what to do. Apparently, he got a lot of money. Blah, blah, blah.
So he's supposed to be the sponsor for this trip that supports their cause, allegedly.
Yeah.
Like, he's super involved in everything. But...
Oh, there it is.
What he turns out to be... later in the movie is what Alejandro says is he is in a competing company with that other timber company.
We're going to get there yet.
Well, I know. But just to kind of explain who he is, because you don't see him again. Like, this is like the only part you see him in, and then he's like gone.
Well, because he gets killed.
Well, yes.
So here's what happens.
So
they fly their small plane into a small community.
Yes.
And they ride these motorcycle carts into these small towns, and then they get into a boat. What are those boats called? I'm not even sure.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, but I do have a side story about that. This is going to be like the longest podcast ever. There was this one time, my dad has a boat like that, but it doesn't have like a little...
Your dad has a boat like that with canopy top and everything?
No. No. But he has like a little metal boat like that. It looks exactly like that, but it doesn't have...
a motor.
A motor, yeah. It doesn't have a motor. It doesn't have a canopy. It's just like a little boat. And there was one day... And if my sister listens to this and my brother, they'll laugh their asses off. There was this one day that we all went to my dad's land in Palestine, Texas. And those of you who live in Texas, you probably know where that's at. And we had these ponds there. which I have been saying forever, are like Lake Placid as shit. Like there's probably alligators in there.
You say that about every pond that we drive by.
No, but like for real, like there's some scary stuff that's probably in this pond, and there's snakes down there for sure.
Some snakes.
And it scares me to death. Well, anyway, my dad was like, get in this boat, or I don't know, maybe it was Haley. Somebody said get in the boat, and it was a few years ago. And so me and Braden got in the boat, and then Haley got in the boat, and then Alex got in the boat. And this was, oh my God, like literally the top of the boat.
It's like almost at the water.
Yes. I was having a panic. I was having a panic attack. I was crying and I was like, get us back. And I was freaking out. I think this was before I met you. And I was like, I was dying in this boat. So anyway, back to the story.
That was the story? So well, their boats weren't submerged that deep.
Well, Haley and Alex were like everybody was laughing at me, and I was like, no, this is not funny. I was getting mean.
I mean, you were that way in Hawaii too, weren't you?
When
you were out in the ocean and they were doing stuff and you were freaking out, so you went to the bar.
Oh yeah, I just sat inside the catamaran at the bar and just drank the entire time because I was too scared to go outside.
She's adventurous.
I am.
So anyway, we're going back to they're in these boats and they're going down the Amazon River or up the Amazon River. I'm not sure which way they went, but they stopped to pee real quick at some place and some dude freaked out because there was a tarantula that almost bit his penis.
I do have to say.
Almost bit his pee-pee.
I do have to say, for just like a regular movie, I'm very surprised that they even showed as much as they did of that.
What do you mean?
Like they actually showed like his private parts. Like most movies, most movies don't really do that.
They showed like 3/4 of a shaft. Like it was almost to the mushroom.
They really did. I was
almost mushroom.
And you know what's so gross about it is that guy's character is on Spy Kids, and so it's like all I can see is like
the penis of Spy Kids.
Junie from Spy Kids, and I'm like, ooh, like let's not look at that.
I don't think of that. I guess it's not my thing.
That's my era.
So they pee, he freaks out, they get back on the boats, they go down some more, and they're going to where they're doing some construction or some clearing of the Amazon forest with all these big construction vehicles and stuff, and they have
like bulldozers and stuff. Yeah,
they have the construction workers there, and they have some army there too. What I can't remember what army.
It's like almost like a little militia that they have just like surrounding them, so like people don't mess with them or something.
Yeah, so they get out of the boat. They change clothes into their clothes that's supposed to match with the construction workers or to blend in. And they go up. They're going to chain themselves to trees and they're going to chain themselves to machines to protest. The big thing is they're going to arm themselves with cameras on the phone, which beams to the satellite, which gives them a live stream so everybody can see what's going on.
But then they had like those little, what were those, like little bombs or something? Those like cylinder things.
Yeah, I don't know. It just said save the Amazon or something like that on the cylinder. I don't know what that was, but somebody threw a grenade or something.
And something exploded.
Yeah, they threw it to the people, the workers. It blew up. Mm-hmm. Then they get attention. Everybody runs over, and the militia's like pointing guns at them, and they're shooting all these cameras at everybody and trying to get live stream.
Yeah.
Well, what's the main girl's name? Justine. She couldn't get her chains locked. So they go through each person trying to make sure the chains are locked. Well, Justine got pulled off of her tree. And the militia guy had a gun to her head.
Well, and she was asking that Alejandra's girlfriend for help. And she's like, my chains aren't locked, like my lock's not working. So it makes you wonder if she was like, well, if anybody's going to get killed, like, just get her killed.
Well, yeah, so they pulled her over and she's screaming for Alejandro. And what happened? She said something or he said something that made her realize he's not going to do anything for me. He's not going to help me.
No, like... He's not who he said he was, like, so that's kind of when everybody started to realize they weren't there for the reason that they allegedly were there for.
Yeah. And then the police show up, they take them out by boat, take them back to
the plane.
They get on the plane, they're celebrating like, yeah, we got so many streams and so many likes and we stopped them and, blah, 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 blah. Well, as they're flying out,
the plane crashes.
An engine, something blows up in the engine, and they crash in the Amazon.
Yes.
Well, at this point, a lot of people die.
Yes. The group really wasn't like that big. It was probably like 15 people, maybe.
Carlos died. He's
died.
The sponsor.
Cara Alejandra's girlfriend died.
Yeah, well, she didn't at first. She was stuck, but then she got out and walked around, and they shot an arrow through her neck.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's true.
And then she's on the ground, and he's freaking out, like, whatever. And then another arrow goes through her forehead.
Okay, I think this is the part where I dozed
Freaking fell asleep.
Because I don't remember that. I remember them getting on the plane, and then I woke up to when they were at the village.
For somebody that's so much into horror movies, you fell asleep at like...
Dude, I got up so early yesterday.
When it was
tired.
The peak of when it's starting is when you fall asleep.
I know.
So, arrow through the head, and...
I fell asleep for 5 minutes, by the way.
No,
it
was not 5 minutes.
Yes, it was, because I woke up when they were getting
15, 20 minutes.
No, because I woke up when they were getting carried up to that village. Because I saw him get killed and stuff.
I think it was longer. But whatever. I still think it was longer. Be that as it may. So at that point, that's when they started running and saying, like, help or don't, whatever. The village people were shooting darts at them at this point to put them to sleep or whatever, paralyze them. And that's when they started carrying them into the village.
Yes.
They put them in the cage where there were pigs. They took the pigs out and put the people in there.
Well, and then they realized that Jonah wasn't there with them. She was like, "Where's Jonah?"
Yeah.
And then they turn around and Jonah's being...
Well, see, in the plane, they were just basically... Jonah was basically getting made fun of because they were saying, "Do you like this girl?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "No, it's just kind of like a friend type thing," trying to act like it was no big deal. But he was always a nice guy.
I know.
And then when they got to the village, he was missing, and he was already kind of not doing very good. He was kind of in and out, like slumped over and stuff.
Well, I think they hit him in the head because he was acting really weird, like almost like he was disoriented.
I don't know if they did or not because they put they laid him. They blew that dust in his face.
Yeah, maybe.
He laid him down on a rock, and I mean, completely alive. They gouged his eyes out.
Oh my God! This is the part. Yes, this is the part where like I was getting sick. I never get sick when I watch movies. I was getting physically sick to my stomach. Like I thought I was gonna have to get up.
They gouged his eyes out. That old lady, witch, whatever, the witch doctor, she's the head of the whole tribe, eats his eyeballs.
She eats his tongue.
She cuts his tongue out. She eats that. And while he's still alive, they cut his legs off.
That guy.
They cut his arms off. They cut his torso off. And they basically bake his upper body into a big oven.
Yes. So, like, they literally cut his legs and arm and head off. And his torso's just, like, by itself. While everything was happening while he was still alive. Like, they didn't even kill him. Mm-hmm. Which, to me... I don't know if that's something that probably actually happens in those, little societies. While they're alive...
I don't think they have any kind of remorse for something like that. That's just the way it is.
That just blows my mind because it's not like, and I think it's sad what happens in slaughterhouses and stuff like that. But like, it's not like it's an animal where it's not exactly like you. Like this is another person. Like I cannot wrap my mind around that.
I mean, there are real tribes that are like this.
Well, and like we talked about that one last night, that guy a few years ago that he was a missionary.
I think it was in Australia.
It wasn't that long ago though.
But they basically told him, don't go to that island.
And he went.
And he went and they
just never, I don't think they ever found him.
They didn't. They probably ate him because they're cannibals. It was a cannibal tribe.
Oh, it was? Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah. So these tribes are really, really out there. And it's kind of weird that they got this many people that look like they're genuinely in the tribe.
I know.
What was that noise?
That's my phone.
God, that was so loud.
I'm sorry.
They genuinely look like they're a part of a tribe.
They did.
Play a part of this.
They
movie.
did not. They seriously looked like they were in. They really did. They looked like they were in an actual tribe. Real. They did not look like people that were trying to look like that. It was just very strange.
Yeah. Yep. So they bake him. They're eating him. All that stuff. And they're sitting there watching the whole time. Well, the entire time that's going on, they're trying to figure out a way to get out of there.
Yes.
They're trying to find a way to escape.
I can't remember. There was a couple, Samantha and Amy, and they were partners. And I can't remember which one was which, but one of them with the short red hair, she eventually gets out because they distract somehow with a phone. They throw their phone out of their cage. One of them still has a working phone with a ringtone. They throw it out of the cage. She gets out, runs to a boat.
Before this, the scream girl who won't stop screaming is she gets a case of the shits, right?
I didn't understand how that happened.
Well, probably with stress and
oh, that's true. That's
what
true.
they're eating and stuff like that too. But before that, didn't they take the girls up to the top of the hill?
Yes, they did. All of them. It was only 3 of them.
So the witch lady, the head of whatever,
yeah,
she took a claw on her finger and she inserted it into their vagina. To see which one would come out with blood.
That makes me hurt so bad.
And so the other ones didn't pass. The other ones didn't they didn't bleed. But the last one, which was Samantha, Justine,
yeah,
she did. And then apparently she was crowned some kind of, she wasn't crowned, but they looked at her as, I guess she was pure.
Yeah.
And they took them back to the thing. And that's when this other girl was like, I'm going to get out of here. I'm coming back for you.
Well, they took Justine off, and you don't see her for a little bit, and then she comes back. Remember, she just comes back in like her bra and underwear.
Oh yeah.
So Samantha or Amy. I think it's Amy. I think that's who it was. She got out of the cage. You see her running to the boat, but then you think she did make it to the boat. She got in the boat, and then it cuts black, and you don't know what happened.
She lays in the boat, and it's black.
Yes, and then the next day comes around, and they're finally getting fed inside the cage. And Spy Kids Junie, whose name in the movie is Lars, Justine comes back. And so she's like, oh, where's so-and-so, Amy or Samantha, whichever one. And him and Daniel, who's the other nice guy in the cage with them, the guy that has the beard, they were like, oh, well, she escaped, but we don't know if she made it. And then all of a sudden they're getting fed, and they give them these bowls and stuff, and it's like pig scraps or something. And it's like fat, like pure fat. I would just fucking die because I don't know. You know how I am about that. But they're eating, and all of a sudden one of the partners, one of the girls, she looks down in her bowl, and it's like the skin, it's like the tattooed skin of
at the bottom
her girlfriend.
Bottom of the bowl, yeah.
And so she's looking around, and all these kids are playing with tattooed skin.
Yeah, putting it on their body and playing around.
And so this surprised me the first time I watched it. She like breaks the bowl and then just like slits her throat, which I know that's a bad situation. It's really, really bad, actually. But I just thought that was so unbelievably dramatic.
The way she did it was kind of...
It was like over dramatic.
It was over dramatic.
It was like almost like bad acting dramatic.
Like bad acting dramatic, yeah. I mean,
how it happened.
Yeah. I mean, being in that situation, I get the fact that it's stressful and something like that really could happen. But the way she did it was like, oh, come on. Like,
you know how I wish...
You did way too much on that part.
You know how I wish they would have done it? I wish, like, it would have cut to night, like, later that night. Everybody's asleep in the cage or whatever. I wish they would have, like, showed her very upset, very sad, maybe doing that, but not in such a dramatic fashion.
I mean, obviously it's a movie. It's not supposed to be believable, but it was almost too
fake.
Unbelievable.
Too fake. It was weird.
It was like everything was kind of like, oh my God, she's got this tattoos and they're playing, oh, that's disgusting. And she did it. It's like, ugh,
I think
you almost ruined it.
I think to me what was so unbelievable about that part was just how much of a baby she was about things.
Yeah.
And for her to finally like get the balls, to like just slit her own throat. Like that to me is why it wasn't believable.
It wasn't believable at all.
She was so scared, didn't want anybody to hurt her, didn't want any of this stuff happening. Oh, I forgot my pills, I forgot my vitamins or whatever the fuck it was. But now I'm going to slit my own throat. Like, I just don't see that as realistic for her character.
Yeah, too high. She was almost hypochondriac.
Yeah.
About everything, and then suddenly she's okay to cut her own throat. I don't know, man. It was just too unbelievable. And the way she did it was like over dramatic, and she didn't sell it very good.
No, I don't think so either.
And so she did that, and they're like, fuck. And the people come in the cage and look at her. Well, they have an idea to
just eat her. I mean, she's already there.
The one dude, the redheaded dude, got pot from Carlos. Right,
yeah, that's right.
They shoved that down
Junie from Spy Kids, for those that don't know this movie.
They shoved the weed down her throat into her stomach.
Yes.
To hope that when they bake her and eat her,
it'll be like an edible.
Everybody, yeah. So basically, everybody's gonna get stoned so they can try to escape this way.
Yes.
And so they did. They brought her out. They cut her up. They put her in. They baked her. And now suddenly everybody's stoned.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And they get stoned, and they start to.
They start to escape, and Daniel and Justine get out.
Yes.
And Lars.
Wait, Daniel's the redheaded guy?
No, Daniel is the guy with the beard, the bald guy.
Okay, the redheaded guy gets out.
Is Lars.
Lars.
So he starts to get out after Daniel, because Justine gets out first, and then Alejandro stabs him with one of those darts.
Yeah, it was on the bamboo. He takes it off and stabs him.
Yes.
And so he's there. The other two go off into the river, whatever. Yes. They're escaping. And of course, Justine falls into the river and floats off and screams. Then I'm thinking, okay, I understand that you're in danger or whatever, but you're trying to escape a tribe.
Yes, like shut the fuck up. That's what I kept thinking the entire time.
You're screaming like that. It's like, God,
you're drawing
stop.
attention.
And so that part didn't sell me either. I'm like, in a situation like that, yeah, you might be scared, but if you're trying to escape something,
I think if you were so to your core, live or die scared, you would not say anything.
You would be screaming.
You would be like, get the F away. You would probably still try to get help from who you're with, but you would not scream.
Yeah,
because they weren't that far away.
Yeah, he sees you. He knows he's coming after you.
Yeah.
And you're screaming.
Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah.
And that part is like, that was too stupid too. And she didn't sell that part to me either. Well, now, I know it's a movie. And
I was thinking the exact same thing. We didn't even communicate that to each other while we were watching it, but I was like, shut up.
God.
I know exactly what you mean.
Anybody else that's in that situation would you panic.
Yeah.
Would scream. And so that part didn't convince me. I was like, oh, whatever. So.
And then while that was happening, it goes back to Alejandro and Lars Lars somehow was outside the cage.
Yeah, I think he fell off the outside of the cave, fell down. When he woke up, there's two tribesmen looking at him.
I think this is where the movie messed up, because when he fell back down into the cage.
I saw that, but then he was outside.
Somehow he was outside the cage. So maybe they dragged him out. I don't know.
Who knows?
And
the tribesmen that are looking at him are stoned. He's like, oh, thank God they're stoned, thinking he can get away with this. Well, they start eating his fingers and stuff because he's doing these little jokes and playing these tricks. He's like, oh, they had the munchies, that was stupid too.
It was really stupid. A lot of this is so stupid, but I can't say his acting was bad because he is a good actor. I think the people at this point in the movie are good actors. I think they were. Like, that was like the core group of them, and I think they made it believable, but some of the lines in that movie were just fucking lame, dude.
It was some of it was, and that part was, it was lame. He was a good actor, and he sold it pretty okay, I guess, but it was just, it was.
I think they're good actors. Yes, I think they're good actors, but they also had weird shit to work with.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and overall the movie was pretty good. It was okay. But there's some parts that's like, man, the screaming, the stuff like that, like Justine. In this part, he was screaming, and the tribe basically gathered around him and started eating him at the same time, eating him alive.
Yes.
And he was screaming. He did a pretty decent job for what he had to work with.
Yeah.
But it was almost like the storyline just was like, come on.
And I do have to say, as bad as his situation was, I think him and Jonah had the worst deaths. I think. Maybe. We didn't see what happened to one of the girlfriends, Amy or Samantha, whoever it was. And then the other girlfriend, she, killed herself. Mm-hmm. That happened pretty quickly. Yeah. So she at least wasn't alive when stuff started happening to her, like when they started chopping her up and stuff. But he had a pretty bad one. I still have to say Jonah, I think because they showed so much of what was happening to him, I think that's why it made my stomach turn and made me think he had the worst one, because I just cannot imagine seeing something like that in person.
Well, he gets killed. Mm-hmm. Samantha, why do I keep wanting to call her Samantha? Justine and the other guy. Daniel, get out of the river. They're going up this. They find the crash out of the plane. Try to get the GPS thing. Batteries are dead. Here's the other thing that kind of.
They find Kara's cell phone.
Well, yeah, and the batteries are dead. Well,
no, not in her cell phone.
They found the GPS in the plane first because they looked at it. It's dead.
Yeah.
Well, they look around and they see people the people that were on the plane suspended in the air on stakes.
It's literally Dracula shit. So like Count Dracula, who he's based on, the real guy who he is based on, he was like some kind of lord or emperor, not emperor, but some kind of lord or king or something, like way back when. He actually did that to people.
Well, that's
like people that were still alive. He would like punji stick them.
So
like
here's
that.
my thing is, they're the plane site. The GPS doesn't work, right? You look up and you see people suspended on stakes and poles, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Get out. Get the fuck out. No, but we're going to stick around and try to find a cell phone.
Oh, I know.
They go up he puts her up on his shoulders, gets a cell phone, and it's like, at that point, they see people, the tribe starting to come back out, because they're everywhere, apparently.
Well, they fall.
Why didn't you get why didn't they just leave?
Every time I watch a movie that does stuff like this, and they're like, oh, I'm so fucking concerned with finding a phone. I'm like, I would run until I found a fucking town. I would not sit here. I would not try to find a phone. I wouldn't do anything like that. I would run until like I found somebody. I found civilization somebody that could help me.
The entire movie, they're going upstream. Mm-hmm. I would have just kept going downstream until we found something. Like, fuck the phone at this point. You know what? I'm just going to find a town.
Well, I don't have the...
I would have gone downstream because we were going upstream to get here. That's what my logic would have been. But
I wouldn't have had that logic because I didn't even realize that.
I was watching that part, yeah.
I wasn't.
So they fall. The tribe shoots them with darts.
Yes.
Next thing you know, they're back into the cage with everybody else.
Well, no. So they don't go back in the cage. Remember, she is hooked up to that, like, almost like a spit kind of thing. And they're rubbing that white stuff on her. And then Daniel, they've put him up on that pole.
Did she wake? Oh, yeah. She woke up tied up already.
Yeah. She was already tied up. And this lady who, the entire time I was thinking, how are there any fat people in this tribe? You were living in the Amazon. You don't have like
genetics. You can't help that.
You don't have Oreos and shit to eat. So like I do.
You're eating people and vegetables and roots. Come on.
I mean, legit though. Like, how are you that big? Anyway, this lady is rubbing this white stuff all over her. They're obviously getting her prepared for some kind of ritual that's about to happen to her.
And they're sharpening a claw.
So, right? Yeah. So they're about to do the FGM thing to her.
Yeah, the mutilation thing. So tribe lady, head of the tribe, whatever, comes up.
Yes.
And she gets the claw and she starts going down her leg. I don't think a mutilation thing is going to be like going down your leg and getting you ready.
No.
They're going straight for it, right?
I think so too.
That part was like, God. But right as she was about to do it, something happened. And what was happening?
It was Daniel. Something was going on with Daniel, right?
Something. I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember why that distracted her from what was happening, but...
They got Daniel basically and put him up on a stake.
Oh, you know what? No, because that's when this other guy ran up and he had like a construction worker's head.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's why it got interrupted. But while that was happening with Justine, Daniel was suspended. They tied him up on this pole.
Tied him up to a pole, yeah.
And were like...
They're putting some green shit on him.
Breaking his limbs, basically, so he couldn't escape.
Yeah.
And they were rubbing this green stuff, which I almost wonder, is that the Green Inferno?
I don't know. I thought the Green Inferno was like the Amazon being green. I don't know.
They were rubbing this stuff on him, and it attracted these giant ass ants for some reason. So I've always wondered if that was the Green Inferno every time I've watched this, because they don't ever explain what that's supposed to be. But these ants are attracted to whatever this thing is, and they start, like, I guess, biting him because they don't eat him. Like,
no, they're like going up in his nostrils and shit, though.
But he's still alive later. When
and those ants don't even look remotely real.
They don't. I was like, those things look like they were
computer animation. I mean, it didn't even look like good computer animation.
Which was surprising because to me, the rest of the movie looked fairly real.
That part was so bad.
It was bad.
He did a good job acting it.
Yes.
They did a terrible job animating it.
But yeah, so they're doing that to him. It goes back to Justine. She's about to get her genitalia mutilated, I guess.
But it didn't.
And it didn't. So the head lady, whatever she is, the witch doctor or whatever you think she is, she goes out. This other tribesman has like a construction worker's head. But then it like, nobody ever says anything about that head again. Like, nobody talks about that guy ever again.
That was it.
And then, for some reason, it like cuts back to their situations, like Justine's and Daniel's, and it's like, what the fuck happened to this construction worker? Where'd you even get him?
I guess you realized they ate it. I don't know. 'Cause that's all
I mean,
that's all we knew.
Because the next time you see the construction workers, it's like much later. Like they would have had to fucking travel pretty freaking far to get to these construction workers, you know?
Yeah.
And but anyway, so it goes back to Justine, and we actually haven't mentioned this yet, but the kid that's been involved with her throughout the movie.
Yeah, that kid
for throughout the village. Mm-hmm. He keeps coming up to her, making somewhat friends with her, I guess, because she keeps blowing this little flute that she has.
She's got that flute necklace from her grandmother's silver.
Yes. And she keeps playing some tiny little song or music or whatever for this kid. And I don't know if it's a little girl or a little boy. I think it's a little girl. But she doesn't communicate with her verbally, but you can tell that this little girl likes her, or little boy, or whoever it is. And well, anyway, when she gets into, and that happens like quite a few times, and then she gets into the situation where she's tied up. Well, then this little kid comes up and actually like chops down her like rope or whatever's tying her up.
Right. Cuts the rope that her hands are tied up with. So, and then she's able to undo her feet and untie herself, but she's still acting like she was tied up.
Yeah. And so she acted like she was tied up when that woman turns around, who I don't understand how she's obese when she's living in the middle of the Amazon. She turns
won't let it go.
I mean, I can't. Like, I literally can't understand that. But she turns around and she blows that stuff in her face.
That dust, yeah.
Yeah. So she passes out. Justine gets away. She's following this little kid, and they get to, I don't even know. It's like this like little like clearing where there's like a river, not like the river, but like a little waterfall pond thing. And then those other people are following them. Remember, it was like another little girl and like her dad. They're following them because she's like trying to get Justine.
So this is when she's escaping.
Yes.
When she's escaping, though, Alejandro saw her like, Justine.
Well, and this is after she tried to get Daniel. I'm like skipping ahead. She tried to get Daniel.
Yeah,
Daniel's
like, kill me.
Just kill me.
Yeah, I'm done.
And as much as I did not want to see him die, at the same time, it's like, if you're in that situation, like, you know that there's, like, you can't do anything for him. If all of his limbs are broken and you're a woman, like, you cannot carry a man.
Yeah, and she thought he'd, like, kill me, and she couldn't do it, so the little girl blew the dust in her face and slit his throat.
And it just broke my heart. I know that sounds bad
because crying?
No, I didn't cry.
Are you about to now?
No.
Okay.
But like how that kid grew up knowing what they do to people, not caring what their victims feel like. The fact that they blew that dust in his face before they killed him, like, that to me has some kind of humanity in it.
Yeah, the little girl had a little bit of humanity.
Like I'm gonna get you to pass out before I do this to you. I'm not gonna just do it while you're still awake.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so sad every time I think about that, because it's like you're stuck in this like society that does not feel that way toward human life, even though y'all are humans too. Well, anyway, so she gets away. Alejandra's like, help me, get me out of here. And she's like, basically, like, she doesn't say anything, but she's like, fuck off. Like,
when she looks at him, she looks back at him and just walks right up, runs away.
Yeah, like, I'm not helping
Justine!
You. Because he told them that the whole reason that they were there was not why they thought they were there.
He basically told them it was a way to stall the current company until the new company could come in and progress further than the current company.
And he said
it was all PR stunt.
The whole reason this happened to us, the whole reason our plane crashed, was because this other company didn't want us to, get involved.
Yeah.
Like,
so it ended up being
they just tried to kill us, basically.
It ended up being bullshit. The whole thing ended up being bullshit.
It was not to help this tribe. It was not to help anybody. It was to further Carlos and probably Alejandra's career with this company at some point.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're not involved in the company, why would you help somebody, So, anyway, she gets away. They end up where this construction company is, this timber company.
Yeah, and they're already having a war with the tribe.
Yes. And so they're shooting all these people. They're killing all these tribes people. Well, she shows up in paint different from the tribes people, but she still looks like she's probably in that because she has all that paint all over her.
She's got a phone.
But she does have a phone. She shows them, and she's obviously not speaking the same language they're speaking. I mean, they're in Peru, so these other people don't speak English, but they can obviously tell that she's not a tribes person.
And I think the one guy recognized her.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah, that one guy, because I think he was the one that was going to kill her initially. Mm-hmm. And so they basically just get her.
Yeah, they take her away.
They pause for a second because they're like, who is this? But I think they realize, like, she's not part of that. So they get her. She gets away.
Helicopter comes get her. Yeah. She flies out. She's good.
Goes back to New York.
And there's Alejandro. Then there's Justine. You know, so they basically said, is there anybody that's down there still? Is there anybody that's still up? And she said, no. That's it. So she left him there, I guess, to get eaten by the tribe. And I know...
I obviously I know I would never be in a situation like that, and how horrible of a person he was, because he got them into that. But at the same time, I still think, like, if that were me and I got away, like, I don't think I could ever feel okay knowing that I caused something to happen to somebody.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I understand why she did it, though. I mean, he basically...
Yeah, I understand that.
We left out the part that he was whacking off and the whole thing, you know, while somebody's sick.
I did forget about that. So but... They get back to New York. She's talking to, I guess it was like people from the UN.
Yeah, they were not interrogating her, but they were asking her questions.
Like, what happened?
And she basically said, they treated me with respect. I never felt any fear.
And I still...
Why do you think she did that?
Well, I don't know. You mentioned that to save that one kid that helped her.
I think that's why she did it, to protect that one kid that protected her.
But... I don't know what to think about that. I mean, I would think if that were the reason, you would say, oh, all of this happened to me. This horrific stuff happened to me. My friends, they killed my friends. I saw several of my friends get eaten. Mm-hmm. But there was this little kid. But at the same time, if you said that, they'd be like, okay, well, you're going to have to come with us to identify this kid. You're not going to let yourself get in that situation again, potentially.
Yeah, and have a chance of running into that guy.
You know, so...
And so after that happened, she cuts to her walking down the hallway at school. Mm-hmm. And then Alejandro walks up and says, Justine, I got out. And she freaks out and she wakes up.
Well, that's after she bit him, remember?
Oh, yeah. He's like, and she had the teeth of the tribe people. Yeah. She bit his neck, and then she wakes up and sweating.
And the fucking dorm room with that creep ass girl who looks like she's dead that I can't stand.
And the people that are outside protesting again.
But it's a different group. And it has his face on it, like he's
free him, whatever.
Like, what are those shirts? Like, there's shirts of some dictator.
Yeah, Che Agara or something like that.
That's exactly what those shirts looked like, but it was Alejandro's face.
Who is it? Che?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. So here's my question. With the whole thing, at the very end of it, I was like, whoa, was the whole thing a dream? Was the whole thing a dream? She was asleep. She woke up.
I didn't even think about that.
Was the whole thing a dream?
I did not think about that.
Because, I mean, she woke up, it was the same thing.
Well, the only reason I say probably not is because when she woke up and she saw those other protesters, they had Alejandro's face on it.
Okay.
Unless it was a dream just about her potentially being in that situation, but the people were actually in that situation and they did die. But she actually wasn't.
I just wondered when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, this whole thing was just a dream.
I didn't even think about that. But, you know, what's funny is a lot of people say that same thing about The Walking Dead.
It does make you wonder, though. I mean, it was a decent movie. There were some parts that was kind of...
I don't think it deserved what IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes gave it. I think it is a very decent movie if you can get past her roommate.
Yeah. Well, her roommate... And so there's some parts of the movie that were kind of cheesy and bad acting.
But overall,
it wasn't bad.
It's not a bad movie. And that's actually a pretty good compliment from you because you don't like movies like this.
I don't. And it was actually pretty decent for what it was. Some parts that were gory, some parts that would make you queasy, some bad acting, which... I guess it's a part of any horror movie, right? There's going to be some bad acting in there.
I would definitely say, even though I'm not an Eli Roth fan, I would definitely say this is top for me, one of his movies.
It wasn't a bad movie, and I was surprised it got such a low rating.
If you like Hostel, I would put it up there with a Hostel movie.
We'll have to watch Hostel then, because now that I've seen this.
If you like the gore in that, you can watch Hostel. That actually shocked me that you like this movie.
Well, we'll watch it. We'll see. Well, I guess that's it. So that's the Eli Roth Green Inferno paired with, what was it again? We had two of them.
Well, two. It was both Landon Winery. One is a Sauvignon Blanc, and the other was a Chenin Blanc or Chenin Blanc or something.
Chenin.
Something like that. I don't know what to say.
So please like and subscribe. Follow our Instagram at Booze and Bloodshed, and let us know what you think about tonight's episode. And feel free to send us suggestions for future episodes. Keep an eye out for the next show topics and for discussion on our Instagram. We'll see you later. Make sure to contact us at boozeandbloodshed@gmail.com. Check our social media. I couldn't say anything. Social media. So that's it. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you can think of something else, another topic, another booze, another
Absolutely.
beverage.
Yes, another booze, another topic, anything like that. We'd love to hear it.
So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next episode.
Peace.